So many stories, so many stories. Welcome. This is the newspaper review segment of Daybreak. And of course, I have a copy of the Daily Trust with me. We start straight to the lead story on the Daily Trust. It says, I engaged in protests, but without violence. This is according to the president. Federal government governors intensify efforts to stop August 1 demonstration. President meets monarchs, religious leaders. DSS warns against anarchy. Other stories on the Daily Trust says grandfather appeals for rescue of 5 family members kidnapped in Kaduna. That story is on page 20. Also, gunmen kill 5 inside mosque in Nasarawa. Page 21 has that story. Dangote NNPC rift. Nigeria's petrol imports from Malta jumps 43 times to $2.08 billion. On top of the page there, we see other stories. One says Muslim groups want film using hijab in armed robbery scene banned. This story has been generating a lot of controversy on the social media space. Another story says security operatives kill many bandits in Niger. Also, Tinubu, others mourn as Ohaneze Ndigbo leader Iwanyanwu dies. Story on page 37. May his soul rest in peace. And that's it for the Daily Trust newspaper. We now go to The Guardian. This story says development commissions without development, an irony indeed. Regions' citizens languish amid proliferation of political special purpose vehicles. That's the big story on The Guardian. And the pictorial on The Guardian this morning is quite succinct. Other stories there says, planned protest, military warns against violence as DSS reveals plot to cause chaos. Also, NCS intercepts 7 containers of codeine syrup worth 11 billion naira. That story is on the Metro page. Other stories say Nigeria's petrol import from Malta surges by 342%. TUC insists on May 1, 2024 date for new minimum wage. So it's seeming like the TUC want the minimum wage backdated. Responders recover 5 bodies, rescue 5 others in Lagos building collapse. That's on the Metro page. Unfortunately, another building collapse. Tinubu, Igbo nation, others mourn demise of Iwanyanwu at 82. Also on The Guardian, listed firms groan over rising OPEC's 71% surge in energy cost. These are some of the stories on The Guardian. We now go to, of course, the Daily Independent, the Vanguard rather. The Vanguard has stories of the protest leading its front page. It says no government will condone destruction of lives and property, says the president. Also, alleged sabotage. Senate summons petroleum, finance ministers, NNPCL, CBN, NPA, others to the Special Investigations Committee, of course. Other stories there says 5 die, others injured in Lagos building collapse. These are some of the stories, on the front page of the Vanguard. We now come back to the studio where I have with me someone who has been, do I call it a vacation, but he has been away from set for such a long period of time. The editor of 21st Century Chronicle, Nuruddin Abdullah, joins me this morning looking like the governor of Niger State, some would say. Editor, welcome to the program. First of all, welcome back from Hajj. How was the experience?
Alhamdulillah, we thank God. But looking like Niger is, just one-off coincidence.
Okay, interesting. It's a one-off thing, but then again, the president has said that he engaged in protests, but without violence. Federal government intensifies effort to stop August 1 demonstration. Some would say that all of this is just a last-minute desperate move, to prevent as much as possible the protest from happening. But then, what's your take on the development?
So, like what the president said, yes, like Senator Shehu Sani, during the democracy day, he said that the president is the father, the godfather of protest in Nigeria, right during the military days. And rightfully too, the president mentioned that. But I don't know why the government, particularly at all levels, are jittery about the protest. Maybe in this part of the country where the agitation is high, the approach by the government using the clerics, to just delegitimize the agitation, I think it was faulty because they say it is haram. But
it's well within the rights of
constitution that gave birth to democracy, that brought President Tinubu into power, 36 governors into power, have guaranteed peaceful protest. So when one clerk that barely understand what democracy means, sat up there and talking to people who are educated, about this thing, it's faulty. That's one, and that's why it didn't work. They lost their influence. Young stars now can look right into their eyes and tell them their minds. You understand? That is one. But what the government should do is to ensure that it is peaceful. It is true that the economic situation is getting from bad to worse.
You see, this is something that I really would like you to expatiate so much on, because, it's now looking like the government is making it look or seem like this protest is going to be held by persons who are intent on sabotaging the administration more than the situation in the country, because it doesn't change the fact that the rising inflation rate, food costs has hit 252% increase. There's the rise in electricity tariffs. A lot of people can no longer fend for themselves daily. So does it mean that these persons do not have a constitutional right to protest?
So that's what I'm saying. And the most fundamental part of it, the government is channeling so much energy on stopping the protest. My understanding is this. I see clerics, drawing inferences, conclusions, similarities with Sudan. It's wrong. That's fake news. Sudan civil war is not caused by protest. In fact, by 2018, when al-Bashir's government, who was in power for almost 30 years, removed subsidy of wheat and that jacked up the prices of bread in Sudan, people pour into the streets. There have been all manner of protests until the military, particularly the RSF, under General Dagalo, deployed brutal force. By 2019, there was what they call the Sudan massacre. More than 100 people were killed. Half of that number raped. That was the beginning. But not the protest itself. So, and again, there is no any concrete and apparent decision. The president, you have to be fair to him, has been channeling funds to state governors, but we don't see it.
It doesn't translate in the real lives of Nigerians.
Most of the FAC allocation to state has doubled over the last 1 year, but we don't see it. Where is the rise that the president is channeling to state governors?
So would you say Nigerians are probably targeting the wrong person in this situation? Perhaps if they were targeting their governors or maybe local government chairmen, as the case may be, maybe the protest would have been more understandable, since the president has done so much in the last couple of months. We've seen minimum wage, we've seen distribution of fertilizers, we've seen distribution, of rice to 36 state governors, but yet nobody has come out to say they have received so and so or so and so from the government.
That's another problem. You understand? Everybody is talking Abuja. If I ask you now, how much is the budget of your state?
I honestly do not have an idea.
How much is deficit? How much is how much loan is your state?
Owing at this point.
But we concentrate on the federal government, and rightfully too. The trigger is from the center here. He removed subsidy. That double up FAC allocation to state. State that we are collecting 3 billion and now collecting 6-7 without anything to show for it. The DSS has arrested. We saw what happened during the past. Abegida and Kano had to sack some aides for rebagging
palliatives.
Some bags of rice were intercepted yesterday, about 2,000 or so. Was it in Kebbi or in Niger?
Indeed.
The same Tinubu's rice. He did what Buhari did, and I think that the method should change. Buhari kept on channeling palliatives
through the government.
What do they call that? The other, not palliative.
Cash transfer.
Not cash transfer. The money he was given to state government.
Trader money.
Not trader money. You know, state government bailout. He gave more than 8 or 10 bailout to states, but most of the states left without even paying salary, which was the major issue that the president wanted to address. So I think maybe the presidency is taking wrong steps to address these issues. The clerics have lost their voices. When you don't stand by the truth, nobody will listen to you. People are hungry.
Indeed.
You understand? So that is it. Instead, and again, they have announced that there will be going to be protests. What the security agency should do is to devise means of making sure that it is peaceful. We saw what happened to NSAS here. NSAS have protested in Abuja for more than a week peacefully, until we saw some video footages. Some talks were being ferried from Yanya.
Some came in black SUVs that said were government vehicles.
And they were unleashed
on the protesters.
On the NSTAF, particularly in Abuja. And the whole thing turned into something else. We need concrete measures. What the money he is giving to government, now you say, is it how many thousand bags of rice?
44,000.
44,000. Show me the state that is sharing this thing peacefully. So these are the things that the president should look into. And the security agencies, instead of sending all manner of alarms, devise your ways of making sure that this protest is peaceful. I think that's my...
All right. So in the National Assembly on Thursday, a special investigative committee to investigate allegations and counter-allegations in the oil industry, especially as it relates importation of, they called it dirty fuel, and also address the back and forth between Dangote Group and NMDPRA, has been set up. The Senate Majority Leader, Okpeni Bamidele, will be chairing that committee. I want you to just say a word or two about how you think this development is going to take, because I think they mentioned some 24 agencies, including international oil companies, the Ministry of Finance, the Ministry of Petroleum, Dangote Group, the NMDPRA, the NUPRC, and a host of others who will be appearing before, this committee come September. What are your submissions in terms of how it's going to take?
My understanding is this: the issue is not about any dirty foil. The issue is about Dangote versus the NNPC and its agencies. Personally, he's a businessman. He has done his due diligence before he invested $20 billion in that Lagos refinery. The best way to go about it is through political means. The National Assembly will not help him. Attacking an NNPC or its agencies will not help him. He has been a pro-establishment guy in the last 40 years. So he knows the system very well.
So
all of what you saw what happened to Alibaba in
China.
In China. I have read him in the past. I read Aliko saying that his grandfather, Alhaji Sanusi Tata, Give him one sermon that he holds very dear to his heart, that never fight the power that be as a businessman. And he has been maintaining that status quo until recently. When I said, I told her it was fake news. But whoever is advising him, I think his media handlers are not doing the right thing.
Would you say maybe they've just pinched him somewhere where he feels he has now had enough?
Let me give you an instance. Let's assume that Farouk guy in the DPR, the former DPR, yes, is sacked. Who is the loser? Yeah. Does he have $20 billion investment? No. Let's assume even Kyrie himself is sacked. He will remain the loser because his money is at stake. Most of his businesses, over this, he has been with the government. He made so much, he became so popular during the Obasanjo 8 years. He had a good time with, a rough time with Eradua, 2 years, but very fantastic time with Jonathan, 6 years of Jonathan. Buhari, he started roughly, but he found his footing. So the issue is strictly political. Planting stories, I am a fighter. He will be the loser. The presidency will not be the loser. Because we're talking about 20 billion investment. Yeah.
But some people say Nigerians are on his side. Well, I think that's a
Can they help? Okay. How?
Okay, that's true.
One single government policy can cripple him. Yeah. We saw what happened to Ali Baba.
Indeed.
So the issue is simple. We are not saying that they teach you. And see how. Look at what happened in the cement industry. I said it here. When you guys were celebrating, yes, Dangote refinery has completed the prices of PMS. I said no. You remember my? Yes, I said no. He's a businessman. He borrowed money to invest.
And he has
he was revealing things that we don't need to know. When he paid $100 million to Lagos, did he tell you? Did he announce in a press conference?
He did not.
He did not. When Buhari said that we are buying in 20% of the refinery, and we are even angry that CBN gave him $2 billion. So he's a businessman. And when you call banks, like you say, behind every great fortune there is a crime. There is a crime. EFCC raided his headquarters over some forex, whatever. What I am saying is this: don't go conclusively deal with this thing politically. It's a political thing.
Right.
That needs a political solution. The National Assembly, it will just go there and talk.
All right.
The current National Assembly.
So it's a political solution, and that's the reason why you should not use a business strategy to solve a political problem. With that, I think Malam Nuruddin has concluded the program for us this morning. Thank you so much for being a part of the program and for sharing perspectives on the review of the papers. And then with that, we wrap up Daybreak this morning. I hope you've enjoyed the program from the start till this point. If you missed any part of the program, do well to follow us across all of our social platforms and watch us live on YouTube to get more details on news programs and documentaries. My name is Sagir Ibrahim. Enjoy your weekend, and up next is 360 Sports with Emmanuel Fashmi. Stay with us.